MedCognito's IELTS Listening. Sit back and listen.
Hi there, everyone. Good day. Thank you so much for taking this time to join MedCognito for this IELTS seminar. This is an IELTS seminar which will be primarily concerning the listening aspect of the IELTS class. I'm glad to be presenting to you today. I'm Augustine. You can call me Augustine. I'm one of the tutors at MedCognito. And so thank you so much for taking the time to join us for today's IELTS class. It's IELTS Listening Masterclass. We are aiming to get some skills that you should develop as you prepare to write the IELTS listening, as you prepare to write the IELTS test. We aim with this seminar to present some skills that would help you to prepare, that would make you ready to ace the IELTS listening session. And so without much more, I'd go ahead with the seminar. And so at the end of today's seminar, we have only one objective. The objective is that you will develop a skill that is required to answer what I'm referring to as type 1 IELTS listening questions. It's not necessarily that the various types of questions have names, but I'm only giving it a type just to distinguish it from the other types of questions that are asked during the IELTS listening test. And so for a quick introduction, what is the IELTS listening test? The IELTS listening test is a 30-minute section of the IELTS test which has 40 questions, which has to be answered within that period. There are 4 different sections for the listening test, and within those 4 different sections, you would encounter 6 different question types. One of those question types is what we want to address today, which I'm choosing to refer to as type 1 listening question. Please pay attention as you listen to the audio during the listening test session, because they will only be played once. The audio would not be repeated, and so please pay particular attention when listening to it so that you can answer the questions right away. As I previously mentioned, there are 4 sections for the IELTS listening test. The first section would involve 2 people speaking in an everyday context. So it could be that they are talking about shops that are in a given mall. The second section is usually a single individual who will be speaking in an everyday social context. So he'll be talking, and then maybe some other person will be listening to him or her. The third section usually involves 2 or 3 people who are speaking in an educational or an everyday context. And so, as you may be well aware, there are 2 types of IELTS tests. There is the IELTS Academic and the IELTS General. And so depending on the type that you are taking, that will determine the context of the third section. The fourth section also involves 1 person who will be speaking. And so it may be a lecture on an academic topic, or it may be a topic that concerns everyday life. And so again, depending on whether you are taking the IELTS Academic or IELTS General, that will determine what kind of topic is spoken about here in section 4. While taking the listening test, you should be paying attention for certain things. And so, 1, you should be listening for the main idea that is being spoken about. As we will see later, it may help you to answer some certain questions. You should be listening to the details that are being discussed in the audio that is being played. You should be listening to the opinions that are being expressed, looking out for what the purpose of the audio is, what attitudes being displayed by the characters that are in the audio that you're listening to, and also how ideas are developed. Now, you are looking out for all of these things with the main goal of being able to understand audio that is being played, and so that you'll be able to answer the questions that will come afterwards. Today, we're dealing mainly with it's a seminar, and it's a short session, and so we'll be unable to go into detail about each of these things. But these are things that pay attention to at MedCognito. And so as we go through the full course, MedCognito, we do pay attention to each of these individual sections. We go into detail to explain what each of these means and skills that you need to develop to be able to identify these when the audio is played. As I mentioned previously, there are different types of questions to look out for in these during the listening session for the IELTS test. I mentioned previously that we will be looking critically basically at type 1 kind of questions. What I've labeled as type 1, questions that involves you filling out a form, a note, a table, or completing a flow chart. And so you are going to be doing this based on audio that is being played. There is what I call a type 2 question, which are multiple choice questions. You will have some multiple choices, A, B, C, D, and then you would have to choose an answer from. Type 3 questions, short answer questions. And so it's a question that it requires you to give 2 or 3 words as an answer to the question. There are what we call matching questions, where you would have a list of questions and you would have some answers, and you need to match the answers to those questions. There is sentence completion, where you are given a sentence with a word or some words missing, and you will have to fill it. And the final type of questions that you will get during the listening test is one that involves a plan, a map, or diagram labeling. And so you will have to fill out the missing information either in the plan, in the map, or in the diagram. And so for today's seminar, we want to take a look at type 1 questions, what I'm calling type 1 questions, which is you completing a form, filling a table, completing a flow chart. And so things to note when you are dealing with these kinds of questions. 1, you have to fill in the gaps, factual details from an audio. And so an audio is playing. Whatever details are being given in that audio, that's what you are using you're going to use to fill these gaps. Take notes. You have to use the factual details from the audio. And so if it's on a topic on which you have prior knowledge before taking the test, please don't depend on your prior knowledge. Whatever question that will be asked, it's going to be based on the audio. And whatever answer that you have to give, it has to come for the audio. And so please don't rely on knowledge that you may have concerning the given topic when answering these kinds of questions. The second point, pay attention to instructions, and I'll go into further detail in the next slide on this one. So for example, you may be told, use no more than 2 words and/or a number in order to answer the question. In this case, if you go ahead and then you use, let's say 3 words and a number, you'll be penalized. And so for a question that you should have easily gotten it correct, you should have easily gotten all the marks, you would end up losing some points, because you didn't follow the instruction. In some questions, they may say use no more than 1 word and 2 numbers. It comes in different forms. And so please pay attention to the instruction. Otherwise, you end up losing a lot of marks, which you could have easily gotten. The third point is that you have 10 seconds to preview questions before you hear the audio. And so, again, the 10 seconds here may as well be your best friend. During this 10 seconds, you want to take the time, go through the text, familiarize yourself with it. You want to look at sentences that are given in the questions. You want to look at the spaces that are left and anticipate what kind of answer they will be expecting. Are they looking for a name? Are they looking for the age of an individual? What information are they looking for? Are they looking for size, dimensions? What are they possibly going to be looking for? So that you listen out for those things. Take note that the answers in the audio, they'll follow a sequence. And so there's no way, let's say you have, let's say questions 1 to 10. There's no way the answer for question 10 will come before the answer for, let's say, question 6 when the audio is being played. So in essence, you are supposed to follow the questions one after the other, 1, 2, 3, 4, whilst you listen to the audio. And so based on what we have listened to, based on what we have just listened to, we want to take a look at an example. We want to take a look at an example of a form, table, or flowchart completion question. In this instance, we do have a form that we are supposed to fill. And so we would want to listen to the audio and fill these. Before going, I would want to highlight again some very important aspects of the listening test. I want to highlight it. So please let's pay attention to these, as this will be the difference between getting a high mark or a low mark on the listening test. It may be the difference that would well set you apart. The first thing I want to highlight is the instruction. And so if we take a look at the top of the page where we have the question, it says, write no more than 3 words and or a number for each answer. And so whatever answer that you are writing, it shouldn't exceed 3 words and a number, and or a number. And so you can have 2 words and a number. You can have 1 word and a number. You can have just a number as your answer. Please pay attention to this. Let it guide you as you go through the 8 questions that you see here. Otherwise, if you don't stick to the rules, again, you will end up losing a lot of points just by not following that rule. So always read the instruction. Always, please, always do read the instruction. It is very important. I'll reiterate it again. Always read the instruction, please. The second point is the heading. For this particular question that we are looking at, the heading is Packham's Shipping Agency Customer Quotation Form. So this gives us a general idea of what we are to listen to, of the audio that we are going to be listening to in a moment. So please pay attention to the heading. It's important because in a circumstance where you miss the answer to a question while the audio is being played, you can come back, try to remember the answers that you had around near that particular question, and look at the heading to guide you on what could possibly be the answer to what you missed. And so I'd say again that please pay attention to the heading, as it may end up helping you in case you make an error and let's say you fail to hear the answer for a particular question. The next point that I'll say is that you scan quickly through the questions that you have. Remember, you have a 10-second session before the audio will start playing that you can scan through the questions. And so in this case, now already we know that we are dealing with a shipping agency and it has to do with the quotation form. Okay, we quickly scan through it. We can see a name, Jacob, and then there's a dash there. So we begin to think, okay, so that'll probably be the surname of somebody. So we should be looking for that over there. The next question has something to do with an address to be collected from. Something College, Downlands Road, Bristol. So we know we are looking for some sort of address, so we are paying attention. The third one is very clear, postal code. We have width, height, clothes, we have content, and then we've got clothes and some other things. And then we have a total estimated value. So please, like I said, take that, it's a few seconds, but take it to scan through the questions to figure out what is being required. Take your time, scan through the questions, please, and have an idea what to expect when the audio starts to play. The fourth point is that you can see that it's divided into some sort of sections. So you have the heading, Packham Shipping Agency, Customer Quotation Form. You go to the next one, Country of Destination. You go to the next one, Address to be collected from. You go to the next section. It has to do with the size of a container. The next section, it has to do with contents. Take note that when listening to the audio, these sections, these headings, that is the size of the container, the contents, the address to be collected from, it will not be mentioned during the audio session. The audio session is just going through and the conversation is going back and forth. And so what you would have to do is that you would have to listen to clues or key indicators that will let you know that the writer, the speaker is shifting from talking about country of destination to now talking about, let's say, address to be collected from. He shifted from address to be collected from to now talking about size of the container. He or she has shifted from talking about the size of the container to now talking about the contents of the box, content of a given box. And so, for example, in talking about address to be collected from, the speaker may say, where should the items be picked up from? Instead of, let's say, talking about what are the contents in the box, the speaker may say what items are going into the box. And so you should listen for key indicators, clues that will let you know that the speaker is shifting from one section onto the next section. Please pay particular attention to this. And then also listen for what we refer to as diversions. After the audio was played and I've quickly gone through the answers, I would highlight one of such diversions. Just something that you should look out for so that you don't end up being tricked into selecting the wrong answer for the listening session. And so I'll take the next few minutes to play the audio. Please listen carefully and attempt to answer the questions as the audio is being played. When the audio is done, I will come back and review what the answer should be and then talk briefly about diversions. A diversion that could have turned you in the wrong direction during this listening session. So please pay attention to the audio.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and an agent at a company which ships large boxes overseas.
Good morning. Packham's shipping agents. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. I'm ringing to make inquiries about sending a large box, a container, back home to Kenya from the UK.
Yes, of course. Would you like me to try and find some quotations for you?
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I need a few details from you.
Fine.
Can I take your name?
It's Jacob Mkere.
Can you spell your surname, please?
Yes, it's Mkere.
Is that M for mother?
Yes.
Thank you. And you say that you will be sending the box to Kenya?
That's right.
And where would you like the box picked up from?
From college, if possible.
Yes, of course. I'll take down the address now.
It's Westall College.
Is that Westall?
Yes, college.
Westall College. And where's that?
It's Downlands Road in Bristol.
Oh, yes, I know it. And the postcode?
It's BS8 9PU.
Right. And I need to know the size.
Yes, I've measured it carefully and it's 1.5 metres long.
Right.
0.75 metres wide.
Okay.
And it's 0.5 metres high or deep.
Great. So I'll calculate the volume in a moment and get some quotes for that. But first, can you tell me, very generally, what will be in the box?
Yes, there's mostly clothes.
Okay.
And there's some books.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Yes, there's also some toys.
Okay, and what is the total value, do you think, of the contents?
Well, the main costs are the clothes and the books. They'll be about £1,500. But then the toys are about another 200. So I'd put down £1,700.
Okay, so how was that? That was fairly straight. In my opinion, that was fairly straightforward. I'll want to quickly go through the answers over here. They do ask for the name of the sender. His name was Jacob Mkere. That was spelled for us for the surname. The address that he collected from was Westall College. That was also spelled for us. The postal code BS89PU, that was given to us. The width 0.7 or 0.7, as some of us may say, and then 0.5, which is 0.5 meters. Please pay attention here. It's asking for a dimension, and so you have to provide the number 0.7 and then the dimension for meters, which is m. You may choose to spell out meters in full, which is acceptable. And so you do that for the width and then for the height also. For the contents, he mentions clothes and then books and toys. And for the final answer, the total estimated value, if you pay attention clearly there, he mentions two values. He mentions £1,500 and then £1,700. And so that's what I refer to as a diversion. He mentioned the £1,500 first, and if you don't pay careful attention, you may end up putting that down as the total estimated value. But if you listen carefully, he then mentions 1,007, which includes the price of the toys. So that wasn't included in the 1,500 value that he mentioned. But then when the toys are included, it comes to 1,700. And they're asking for the total estimated value. And so the answer for that is 1,700. And so that's That was just a sample of a form for the type 1 listening questions. There's a table type, there's a flow chart type. Apart from that, all those fall under type 1. Apart from that, there are 5 other types of questions. And so for MedCognito, we go through all of these types of questions, the different kinds. We go through different examples and then give skills, things to pay attention to answer all the different kinds of questions. And so just to end the seminar, I want to quickly go through the key takeaways. What you should take away from this seminar. If you don't remember anything at all, please pay attention to the instructions. Is it asking for 2 words and or a number, 1 word and or a number, below 3 words and or a number? Please pay attention to these instructions. Please do pay attention to them. And the second point that I want you to take away from this presentation is that the 10 seconds that you have before the audio starts to play, please scan through the text to know what to listen for before the audio is played. Scan through the text, know what to expect, so that as you're listening, you are looking out for those. That way, you'll be able to quickly get the answers, and then you will have it correctly and then move on to the next sessions. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.